Life is precious, and we all have the opportunity of living it to the fullest. Unfortunately, so few of us know how to manage it all. How do we account for our opportunities? How do we account for our time? How do we account for our relationships, health, spirituality, homes, finances, influence, and careers? How do we account for the one life we have to live? I am so glad you asked. In this program, you will find answers to all of these questions and more. Welcome to the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore.
What's happening, everybody? Guys, I want to welcome you back to another episode of the Account for Your Life podcast. Your boy Jay Moore here, the healthy accountant, helping you to account for your life. Guys, here's what we're discussing today: why people opt out of success. And I should say super success. Yeah, I know this is probably may not sit well with you because you're going to probably think, hey, I haven't opted out of success, but I'm going to give you a couple of reasons today why most people opt out of success that you may agree with or you may not. Hey, this is my podcast. I get to kind of say whatever I want. But at any rate, thanks for joining. And before we go any further, before we jump into that topic, look, I want to let you know that this podcast is brought to you by who? It's brought to you by The Healthy Accountant. The Healthy Accountant has created for business owners a platform, a segment of classes that you can basically sit through as the entrepreneur because you're bootstrapping, and more than likely you are looking to keep more of your money. And so if you're looking to keep more of your money, then you want to go to taxfreewealthchallenge.com. It's going to redirect you right to the page where you can get for almost free over $5,000 of valuable information and tools and strategies that you can use right now today to implement into your business so that you do not waste $5,000. So you do not waste $15,000 to $20,000, because I see it happen every single year. People make a mistake. Oops, I made a mistake. Oh, I didn't realize I spent $20,000 too much last year. Go get the program. You can use this program in your business and you get it for almost free. All right, so let's jump right into the program today. And here's what we're talking about. We're talking about success. Now, let me ask you a question. Would you like to be successful? Good morning, PB. How are you? Would you like to be successful? Because if you would like to be successful, then today you just take a listen. So I'm going to take you with me into the gym, right? And I'm going to take you with me into the gym because, so I want you to picture yourself at the gym with me. And I'm at the gym and I'm looking up at the pull-up bar, right? I'm looking up at the pull-up bar and I'm saying, man, if you've ever done pull-ups, if you've ever attempted to do a pull-up and you do them correctly, if it's your first time, it's probably going to be hard. Now, here's the thing. I remember the first time I tried to do a pull-up, I could not do one, or I barely got to do one. And I remember when I thought I was doing pull-ups the right way, and one day I saw myself on video. And I said, wait a second, I was doing a half a pull-up. I was just going like this. Where in the pull-up, you got to you got to go from this, you got to come down, and you got to go up, you got to come down, you got to straighten your arms. And so I was not straightening my arms. I was like, oh, shoot. I said, so I got to practice that. I could do less pull-ups. Now, here's the thing. I could have opted in to stick with it, or I could have opted out to say, you know what? I'm not going to do pull-ups because they're too hard. Now, here's the thing. Many people, well and good people, they look at things in life and they say, that's kind of hard. Man, I'm probably not going to be that successful. So I'll just opt out of that. I won't do it. I heard, I think it was Tom Bilyeu of Impact Theory on the Impact Theory podcast. You got to watch that guy. Super dude. I mean, he's created $1 billion business in Quest Nutrition, and now he's on the quest to help people to become more disciplined and become more successful. So Tom says, the thing about discipline is boring. Being successful, guys, you want to write this down. If you're going to be successful, you're going to have to do things that are boring. You're going to have to do things that are painful. That pull-up was painful. And even I'll take you through another exercise because I like exercises. I'm more of a master of that than say I'm not a millionaire. So I can't tell you that I'm a millionaire yet, but in my mind I am. So, but right now I'm gonna just tell you where I'm a master. So I can get down and I can do push-ups. I remember the first time I attempted to do a push-up. And that push, I remember like this was years ago. I remember years ago, like back when I was in college and everybody was getting down to do push-ups. I tried to do 10. I was like, yo, I'm young and I was having a hard time doing 10 push-ups. But let me fast forward. I'll fast forward you to when I'm in like a grown person. I get down to try and do push-ups and I couldn't barely do 10. Can you do 10 push-ups? I remember and I couldn't do 10 push-ups. But here's the thing. Being successful at anything you decide to do is going to require pain and it's going to get boring. It's going to get boring because it's going to get mundane. I'm going to take you to another one where, I decided to go running, and going running is very boring. It's not like, yo, I'm having a good time out here running, because typically it's going to hurt. Typically when you decide, hey, I'm going to go run for 5 miles. I'm going to go run for 1 mile. I remember the first time I went and ran for 1 mile back in 2014, when I knew I had recently been diagnosed with arthritis in my left knee. And I'm like, why am I running when my knee is messed up? All right. So I get out there and it hurts and it's painful. And I realized how boring it is to run. But then when I did the run, I said, okay, well, I did it the one time, and you do it over and over. What happens is then you start building up what I call, or what I realize is, you're building up endurance. You're building up endurance. Like, I remember when I couldn't run 3 miles. Like, I remember when I couldn't run 4 miles. I remember the first time I ran 6 miles. I'm like, wow, I ran 6 miles. It happens only because you actually choose to do it through pain, and you choose to do it because it's boring. Guys, success is not, it's not what we think it is. A lot of times we believe that success is all glitz and glamour. No, that's what you see when someone became successful. When someone became successful, we see the glitz and glamour. It's like the rap artists. You didn't see them when they had no money. You didn't see them when they wasn't on TV. You didn't see them when they wasn't selling out stadiums. You did not see them before that. It's kind of like, recently I think you had Kirk Franklin, and they did the Kingdom Tour with Maverick City, and selling out like crazy. But at some point, Maverick City was not known. Now, Kirk Franklin's been around for a while. But before he was around, he wasn't. He had to do something that was boring. But here's the thing. You got to take the boring, you got to make it fun. What is the thing that you do all the time that you can make fun, that you can become successful at, but not just successful, super successful? Man, I was thinking about our business and the career that I chose. And sometimes you want, man, I'm in this career. Do I like it? It's boring. Guys, taxes. I try and make it fun. To be honest, I try and make taxes fun. But typically, if I say, "Hey, man, let's do some taxes," you're gonna be like, "Come on, Jay, man, that's not a fun conversation." You're gonna say it's not a fun conversation. But here's the thing: it's probably not a fun conversation. But I bet you, if we're talking about money, money is a fun conversation. Join the conversation with me. Let's talk about money. Let's talk about, man, what if I gave you back $10,000 this year? Would that be a great conversation to have? Let's have that conversation. What if I gave you back $20,000 this year? Would that be a good conversation to have? Oh my goodness, you got to do some boring things. Are you ready to do some boring things in order for us to have a conversation about me giving you back $20,000? I could go review a tax return, right? This is an indicator of your success. I could go review a tax return. And say I reviewed your tax return, and you are a modest business owner. Say you made about $150,000 as a business, right? And then, well, I'll give you more real life. Say you made $300,000 because you're a real, like your business is coming, but you netted $120,000. You netted $120,000, and then you're like, oh shoot! And then you talk to me, and I asked you a question. I said, hey, how much taxes did you pay last year? You said, man, I paid $30,000 last year. I'm like, wow, that's a lot of taxes. Really? You paid $30,000? I paid $30,000 of taxes. Okay. Let me look at your taxes. Oh, looks like you can save $17,000, but you could have gotten from that. You've saved $20,000 this year, and you could have gotten $17,000 less last year. That's $37,000 I'm going to put in your pocket. I'm going to put that back in your pocket. But here's the thing. Would you say no to that deal? Like, it doesn't matter what the deal is at that point, because if you're already out of money, if I go back even further, what I find out is that you've been overspending for the past 10 years. Imagine 20,000 for 10 years and around it. 20,000 for 10 years. How much is that? I think that's 200,000. Wow. All right. It's boring to be successful. You got to do some mundane things to be successful. And the thing about doing mundane things is that they just make you successful. Doing mundane things. As we close, I went to go see a space yesterday. One of my new clients, he's buying a franchise. Now, he's made a bunch of mistakes. I'm talking about lots of mistakes. I'm going to say lots of mistakes. He made a lot of mistakes. And he's putting himself in a situation where he's overspent. And so I go into the space. I'm looking around. I'm taking pictures for him because he's out of the country right now. I'm taking pictures for him. And I'm like, and then I go outside and I see all the other businesses out there. And I'm just like, wow, people spend money for the opportunity to make money. People will spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe even $500,000 for a storefront, for the opportunity to potentially make that back. See, in success, you have to do something boring. You got to do things that's boring. You got to do things that's mundane. And the last thing you got to do is you're going to take a huge risk. Huge risk. Now, you weigh out the risk, but what if you don't have to take a risk of $500,000 in the business? Most brick and mortar businesses, especially franchises, you're going to probably come out of pocket potentially, if you had to build out a space, maybe $500,000. We're going to round it to that. Like McDonald's is more than that. But I'm just saying, some other business, $500,000. $500,000 in. But what if you can actually have a business be successful with $5,000 a month, with $2,000 a month? Your job as a business owner is to figure out, one, how you can be successful doing something that's mundane, doing something that's boring, doing something that may be a little bit painful at first, but that you can take yourself into freedom because you've decided to move through the pain. Guys, success is not so challenging that we can't have it. It's that we have to decide that, you know what? This is an opportunity for you and I to go from where we are to a new level. And to get to that new level, it's just going to require some boring tasks, like looking at taxes. Because taxes, what I've discovered is that when you don't plan for it first, it runs out the back door. And then you look back at the door and you say, wow, that's $200,000, 10 years in business. And you had your taxes prepared. That's $200,000 down the drain to the IRS, where the government's just giving your money away. They just giving it away. So what should you take away today? Here's what you should take away. Success is boring. Success is painful. And then you've got to decide, one, you do not want to allow money to get out the back door through taxes. So remember, go to taxfreewealthchallenge.com, get this almost free platform of classes where you can have tools and resources so that you can avoid costly tax mistakes. Remember, taxfreewealthchallenge.com. Guys, I appreciate you for joining me for this episode of the Account for Life podcast. This is Jay Moore, your healthy accountant, helping you to account for life. God bless, and I will see you on the next episode. Peace.
Thanks for joining us, listening friends. We are so glad you invested this time with us. Always remember, you only have one life to live, so live it to the fullest. This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.